as senators disown committee report. El-Rufai alleges people bought ministerial positions under President Tinubu's government. Nnamdi Kanu's trial to start afresh March 21 on the new judge, and Putin sets out conditions for Ukraine ceasefire. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The world news at 12 begins on the foreign scene, where Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he agrees with the idea of a ceasefire in Ukraine, but that questions remain about the nature of a truce, as he set out a number of tough conditions for peace. The Russian president was responding to a plan for a 30-day ceasefire, which Ukraine agreed to earlier this week following talks with the United States. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described Putin's response to the plan as manipulative and called for more sanctions on Russia. Meanwhile, the U.S. placed further sanctions on Russian oil, gas and banking sectors. Moscow and Washington have not commented on the issue. Ex-Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte is set to appear before the International Criminal Court (ICC) in the Netherlands today. The 79-year-old, who landed in the Netherlands on Wednesday, is accused of crimes against humanity amid the war on drugs during his time in power, including the murder of at least 43 people between 2011 and 2019. The hearing was set to be streamed with a 30-minute delay. The former Philippines leader was detained at the airport in Manila on Tuesday on a warrant issued by the ICC and flown out of the capital in a chartered aircraft the same day, with a stopover in Dubai. Back home in Nigeria, the controversy surrounding the suspension of Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has deepened, with allegations that the signatures attached to the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions report were not for the endorsement of the suspension, but rather attendance records. This led to confusion at a closed-door Senate meeting, as some senators reportedly claimed their signatures were misrepresented to give the impression of unanimous support for the suspension. You will recall that on March 5, some of the Senate Committee on Ethics convened to investigate the seat arrangement dispute between Senator Natasha and the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. On that day, senators who attended the committee's sitting signed the attendance register, while others abstained. Based on the Senate rules, all senators can attend the committee meetings, whether or not they are members of such a committee. Also, all the senators who attend the committee's meeting can sign the attendance register. On March 6, when the Ethics Committee Chairman Neda Imasue presented its report on the floor of the Senate, the attendance sheet signatures were included, creating the impression that all signatories endorsed the committee's recommendations. One of the key recommendations in the report was to prohibit Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan from identifying herself as a senator, both locally and internationally, for the 6 months she would be on suspension. Some senators who signed the attendance register have now reportedly distanced themselves from the report, with the argument that they were not allowed to review the final draft before it was presented on the floor of the Senate. A senator who attended the meeting where the matter was discussed but requested not to be named told Premium Times that the proper process should have been for the committee members to examine and approve the report before its presentation. However, members were unaware of its content until it was publicly read on the Senate floor. Nassir El-Rufai, former governor of Kaduna State, has alleged that some persons paid money to become ministers in President Bola Tinubu's administration. Speaking in an interview with BBC Hausa, El-Rufai reiterated that President Tinubu begged him to come and serve as minister in a bid to resolve the country's perennial electricity challenge. Asked during the interview if he left the APC due to the ministerial snub, El-Rufai said he did not contest for the position but was begged by the president to be nominated. In September 2024, Kanu had challenged Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja to recuse herself from his trial. Following his call, Justice Nyako recused herself, but the Chief Judge of the Abuja Federal High Court rejected her decision. In December, Justice Nyako adjourned Kanu's case indefinitely. Against this backdrop, Kanu vowed never to appear in court until an impartial judge is appointed to preside over his case. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has again written to the State House of Assembly informing the lawmakers of his intention to represent the 2025 appropriation bill to the House for consideration and approval. In a letter dated March 13 and addressed to the Speaker, Martin Amewule, Governor Fubara said he intends to present the budget on Wednesday, March 19, 2025, or any other day within March that the House may deem fit. Governor Fubara said his decision is in compliance with the Supreme Court judgment and in response to the lawmakers' request for him to represent the budget. He recalled the bitter experience of visiting the assembly quarters with his entourage, where the lawmakers were temporarily sitting to present the budget, but he was denied access to the complex. Let's take a listen to Governor Fubara speaking on this.
WhatsApp information to him and others, notifying them that I will be coming by 10 this morning to present the budget, so that there won't be any reason why River State will be in any fix because of me, as been alleged. But it was unfortunate when we got there this morning. We were denied access, and the next story I'm hearing is that we didn't make any communication. But I leave it to God, who sees in secret places. I did everything to make sure that that situation was sorted out today. But I still believe maybe they might be instructed later. But if they are instructed, I'm still ready to come any day to get this particular issue.
The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has implemented a price reduction at its loading gantry, reducing the loading cost of its petrol from 825 naira per litre to 815 naira per litre. The development, which came into effect on Thursday, marks a new point in the price war currently ongoing in Nigeria's downstream oil sector. The fresh price reduction comes about 2 weeks after Dangote Petroleum Refinery announced a 65 naira reduction in the price of petrol. The reduction in the ex-depot price from 890 naira to 825 naira per litre took effect on February 27, 2025. The new pricing structure, which kicked off on Thursday, reportedly met with enthusiasm from oil marketers, with many of them neglecting other sources and now sourcing their products directly from the refinery. On Tuesday, reports confirmed that the landing cost of petrol imported into Nigeria dropped to 774 naira 72 kobo per litre, with marketers predicting that a continued price plunge may lead to a reduction in the pump price of petrol to about 800 naira per litre. You're currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a short break and return with more news and the news analysis segment. Do stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. You're still listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Joining me to discuss issues in the news, I have Ambassador Victor Atewe. He's a political, social and national affairs analyst. I can hear you, Ambassador. Good afternoon and thank you for joining me. Ambassador Atewe, thank you for joining me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. It's been quite a while. Thank you for joining us on the World News at 12 this afternoon. Let's quickly begin with this, what one can call an explosive revelation of some senators saying that they did not actually endorse the document from which it was read the penalties that would accrue to Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for what the Senate has called misconduct on the floor of the National Assembly, and that their signatures were actually taken from an attendance register. It would be quite unfortunate if this is true, Ambassador Victor Atewe. Do you not agree? Because although the senators have not come out to say it publicly, Premium Times released an exclusive report saying these senators are not happy about it, and they've been holding meetings to say, why did you include our attendance signatures to make it look as if we actually endorsed what was written in this report when we did not know about it? But then again, if they really did not know in favor of this, say aye. All of them said aye. So who exactly is lying here?
Okay, thank you so much for having me. And well, it's quite pathetic that we are where we are on this case as a nation. It goes to show the whole lot of how our so-called leaders, how they perceive to see us as if we're illiterate. You recall that Senator Natasha even had said that in many of our public engagement as regards this issue, that some of our senators, some of our colleagues have been trying to reach out to her and in a way trying to tell her that they applaud, they insult of her, however, that they can't come up publicly because, of course, it's like them fighting the big wings. And you agree that even if you look at the record the video recording of the Senate president when he was like, "Those in favor say aye." You know, if you recall that he had to take that motion twice. So because the first one they had the House majority said nay, so he had to like read. I mean, we read the motion and so as to have people say aye. You know, like practically forcing them to agree with him. So from the whole look of things, you agree with me that as it stands now, this is all politically motivated. I mean, from the committee coming out to give their verdict in no time, and the hastiness in passing all that. You know, I'm not, and it, let it be on record that I'm not for or against.
You talked about inducement, right? Could this be due to fears of victimization if they were to actually go with nay?
Of course, yes. Everybody wants to be on the good book of the Senate president and of course the leaders of the House. You want to be seen to be on their bad book, or you understand, on the other side. So even though they're not happy with it, even though the senators want to disclose their name or want to come out publicly and said they never signed that document, or that document was just an attendance list, it was they didn't see what was inside, and of course was just read on the outside, and that's when they got to find out the content in the report. But they don't want to come out and declare their support, or either for or against, or just to be neutral. They want to be seen to support the president, so as to get on his good books, and of course to be favored by getting
Ambassador Tewe, doesn't that speak to the aspiration on the part of the leadership of the National Assembly wanting to actually, would I say, convict her totally by bringing, if this is indeed what happened, bringing attendance signatures to append it on the committee signature? Because from the report I read, any senator, even if the senator does not belong to the committee that is sitting, can actually attend the committee's meeting and append the signature to show that they were in attendance. Why pick these people's signatures from the attendance register and place it on that committee report? Was it because they knew that if they spoke to these senators and asked them to append their signatures to the committee findings, they wouldn't do that? Does it mean that the committee findings, it wasn't unanimous between everyone in the committee, and it was just certain people who felt some certain way and said, okay, you know what, let's just put this signature so it can look like all of us actually agree, when they did not agree? It seems they didn't make that decision in unison.
Yes, of course. It's if you follow. Of course, I know you follow this incident. It began. You will see that the it's like an influenced report to silence. To quickly silence what is happening, and not to, because even the Senate leader came out to say that yes, indeed he called to Natasha that if the Senate president goes down, what would be a gain? So this goes to show that there are people of interest who are trying to make sure that they cover the tracks, and just trying to expedite the report and try to gather anything they can to make it look authentic and make it look as if it was in unison and the Senate agreed. But of course, this has always been the play in the Niger polity, and of course in the Senate is not an exclusion to it. So you could see that there's so many power play trying to cover what is not, and a lot of people who naturally will want to give their own their own position different from what is on ground, will be seen to be like you rather just keep quiet and just avoid and look away, as to, so you not be made a scapegoat. People that have come out to challenge the power that be, they'll be suspended. You recall that Shehu Sani was once suspended when he came out to give the figures, and of course he came out and of course he was suspended. Same with Ali one of the senators,
Abdul Ningi.
Ningi, too. So you see these people, they come out, you see that when they speak, because it's a caucus, and the caucus don't want to be broken. They don't seem to be broken, so they will do whatever they can, if truly, to see how they can cover their tracks, and that is what you see is playing out. But it's a pity, like I said earlier, that it's not like I'm saying allegations are true or not, but I believe that in a democracy, she should be given a privilege of fair hearing, even though they tried to sweep the sexual allegation under the carpet to say, she was suspended because of our gross misconduct in the House, because she refused to leave. Okay, agreed. She has refused to, she has agreed to move to her seat, but okay, address this issues, and you say because you have rule books, but we all know how it plays out in Nigeria. It's just going to come like one of those stories, and maybe after a while we'll see like maybe the power that be will play in and say, okay, all the parties should just rest your sword, and she'll be asked to resume, and we'll just
But
it
she
will just be
has
business
said
as
she will
usual.
not apologize, Ambassador Victor Atewe. This case, unfortunately, seems to be like an onion. The more you peel the layers, the more you expose other fresh layers inside of it. The Senate President has said it's an international embarrassment, her going to the IPU to present this case and said that she distorted the facts. But with more revelation, has there really been a distortion of facts?
No. So far, what she did, I'm going to speak like a true Nigerian, and of course, an advice to Senator Natasha Akpoti-Dwara. That I think she needs to learn how to fight the battle, but not the war. Because she there's so many things in front of her, and trust me, the Senate House is it's an arm of the government. It's a big institution. It's I don't know, but trust me, for her saying that she won't apologize, I think is a quick call for her to say that. I mean, it's just that I think as things unfold, I believe that the big players, of course, the major stakeholders will come into play, and everything will die down. Trust me, I say that. But for her saying she will apologize, she might not apologize on the sex allegation she made. She might be made to apologize on her conduct in the House. So, but all will be seen to be an apology in all the allegations laid forward. So this is going to be what's going to play out as time unfolds. Trust me, she might not stay to the. Of course, it's unconstitutional. I mean, for you to kick up a Senate for 6 months, you're disenfranchising our constituency from being and for participating in the House. So you see that play out. But the truth of the matter is, I think she needs to learn how to fight a war. I mean, fight the battle, not the war.
The root of this whole sexual harassment allegation is she is saying that is the reason why she has been disrespected on the floor of the National Assembly, why her motions have been overlooked, and why she is not able to actually speak on certain bills. So even the whole situation that escalated about the sitting arrangement escalated because the Senate President holds a grudge against her for rebuffing his sexual harassment allegations. So this has been intertwined.
Allegations. These are allegedly saying. These are speculations. These are things that are supposed to be perceived to be. She's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful mother, a beautiful wife, and just like in a company where you have a boss who maybe, I'm just saying, just give an example, maybe making advances or possibly showing some kind of I'm giving some kind of preference to a female staff, and all of a sudden things turn out not to be the way the boss wants it. There's bound to be some intimidation for some quarter, even though it might be driven to be part of the company policy. But the lady in question would seem to perceive it as to trying to rob her off because of her not accepting to the advances. So these are what is playing out. Like, for instance, you see in our Nollywood movies and all, you see a boss who wants something, and because of that try to make everything frustrating for the staff as not to make the work conducive. But like we said, these are allegations, and that is why most Nigerians are frowning that why the speed? Why not give a fair hearing? Why not allow? I mean, you can't be a judge in your own case. I mean, this allegation against you, the Senate President, what is advice? You submit yourself to the committee. You go and you clear your name, not standing at the God, and of course you pass the judgment. You just have your tools, your guys, your lieutenants go in and do the dirty job for you, and they come up with a report, and all of a sudden you just suspend her. Everything is seen to be shutting her off and trying to silence her. And of course, it's good that she's taking the bull by the horn. It's good that she's fighting for her right, but these are two different allegations. So I'm aware that is in court, and will leave court to do their findings. But of course, she just needs to pick a battle, and she needs to face this one at a time. Because now, given to what the reply the Senate gave to IPU, Interparliamentary
Union at the United Nations,
at the United Nations, that happened. You recall that they downplayed the sexual allegation.
Did they really downplay it? What they said was, we would like to hear from both sides before reaching a judgment on the issue.
Why I said they downplayed it is because they said they would like to hear. I mean, giving to the response, they replied, the response they gave to her. I'm talking about the press conference that was organized. Kafilat Okpara. So she made it like she was suspended on the ground of a misconduct. not the sexual allegation, not the sexual
which is the
assault,
same thing the Senate has been saying even before Senator Natasha went to the IPU. But here's the thing, I want to focus more on these senators who are saying they did not append their signature, which is why I started with the question, if indeed they did not append their signature, when it was time for them to vote aye or nay, they voted aye. You've chalked it down to fear of, would I call it revenge, right? But they are saying their signatures were misused because they did not explicitly consent to the recommendations of that report. Also, the fact that they signed an attendance register does not mean that they endorse a resolution. That report was supposed to be passed around to all of them to look at it, and then they would say, okay, I actually agree with what is in this report, before they signed it. Now that this exclusive report has come out and said that they're holding, closed door meetings to talk about the fact that they're not happy about this, would you expect them to come out publicly, or that same fear that stopped them from saying nay the first time would still stop them due to fear of victimization?
The truth is, me and you know the answer already. The truth is, it is an act of cowardice. It's an act of cowardice, and this happened because we get this. It's just the fear of the power that be. Not that they don't know what to say, not that they don't know the truth, or not that they don't. There's always a truth behind the curtain. We all know what happened. But the truth of the matter is, for the eyes of the public, for them to hide behind the curtain and said, "Oh, we didn't append this," though we didn't see the report before it was read and all that. It's just messy after death, right? I mean, one would have thought that you take the bull by the horn, you come out and say, "Sorry, Mr. Senate President, you're elected just as I am elected." Yeah, but on the House, we said we elected you to be our president. However, I believe that but it goes to show the the rubber stamp thing Nigerians have been clamoring for, that we really don't have people who are representing us there, because this is one of your colleagues who is being shut down, and because she's a woman, it can also happen to a man tomorrow or any other person, and before you know, you'll be shut down. And if you close your eyes and say because it doesn't affect you, when it gets to you, the others too will close their eyes. So that's why we find ourselves as a country, and it's a pity that we have people, senators who are just, who are grumbling, but wouldn't want to come out to face their fear and say, "Sorry, we're against this thing and we didn't support this. However, we expect that this and this and this and this should be done." So, but when we have that, who am I to speak for them? If they can't come out, then we have to just leave it the way it is. But in no time, I believe that you can only hide for a while, but the truth will.
National Assembly. I want to cast your mind back to an event that happened late November 2023, where a senator from the Labour Party was yelling at the president of the Senate, "Are we your slaves? Are we your slaves? Why are you treating us this way?" That's Senator Tony Ngoye was actually yelling at the Senate 2023. This is March 2025. And yet we still have these leadership problems. You talked about how, not many voices really said aye the first time until the Senate President asked again the second time, and then they had to just chorus that aye because nobody wants to be victimized.
No, the truth is, it goes to show the kind of leaders we have across board, leaders who oppress the people. And the 10th Assembly have seemed to be that kind of leader that favors some sect. If you belong to their caucus, if you do not, you're not given a chance to speak. And if you must speak, you won't be heard, or you just be asked to noted, and be cut short and all that. So it has been seen in most of the reports, and of course, or the confrontations you see. Little wonder, a distinguished Senator Tony Ngoye, who came out and said, "You can't shut me down the way you elected as I was elected. You are not nobody's a slave." So it goes to show the kind of leadership we have that is running the Senate. This is a leader that is largely influenced by the presidency, and of course, who yield, and of course, who jumped at.
So that is no independence of the legislature, as it's supposed to be, no separation of powers as it should be. I want to come down to the Lagos legislature, right? There are reports that President Tinubu is saying he sees someone lose hands in Obasan's impeachment, and that he's uncomfortable with the Lagos governor having that level of power or influence. You recall that he did intervene to facilitate the reinstatement of Mudashiru Obasa as Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, and also the reports are saying that he identified the involvement of Governor Sanwo-Olu, although in the beginning of this whole crisis, and when his name was mentioned, Governor Sanwo-Olu said he has nothing to do with that impeachment. If this indeed is true, with President Tinubu saying, he sees Sanwo-Olu's hand in Obasan's impeachment, and he's not happy with Governor Sanwo-Olu having that kind of power, being that powerful, what does this actually portend for, would I say, democracy, separation of powers in Nigeria as a whole, and in the Lagos legislature? Because we're just talking from the upper legislative chamber now. We're coming from National Assembly to the Lagos State House of Assembly.
The truth is, Lagos State have always been ruled by an emperor system of government, where once the emperor speaks, it automatically it trickles down and everybody just obeys, right? That's what you see that just played out in Lagos State House of Assembly, where the man, of course, who was largely by the House, they were duly elected, and they said we don't want you, and they voted him out. But he insisted that no, you can't, because he has the power beyond them, beyond the so-called even the governor, that can reinstate him back. And of course, it was being reinstated, and you saw what happened. That the president had to say, let him be. So a friend of mine over the weekend, last week, was saying that only God knows the relationship between the Speaker of the House of Lagos State House of Assembly and the President. One can only but imagine. But as it stands now, the governor, of course, is the number one citizen of the state. But of course, you recall that there was a man who was single-handedly brought in by now the president, and of course made the governor, and of course Ambode was removed after his first tenure. So what would you expect? You were being enforced on the people, so you want to have your own mark, and it's not possible. Leaving your godfather hanging. So the godfather had a major stake because he made you. So you trying to form your own system so as to pave way for your own candidate. That wouldn't work. It's politics. So what you see is what I would expect, that it gets to time for you to round up your term in office. You want to start paving way for your own candidate, your preferred candidate, your anointed candidate, so you can have your own feast or your own fruit on the ground as the godfather. What would tell the governor if the reports are true, that ask Fashola and ask Ambodi, they will tell you that it's not an easy call. But what you see in the State House of Assembly, it simply shows that we have leaders who are selected but not elected, who are the choice of one man but not choice of the people. So that's what is playing out.
Ambassador Victor Atere, from one legislature to another, let's go to Rivers State, where Governor Fubara has said he's ready to represent the budget to the Rivers State House of Assembly under Martin Amewule. He's saying, although the way he was treated on Wednesday when he went to the venue where they were sitting and they locked him out, he just wants to pursue peace. And in fact, he has chosen a new date, next Wednesday, March 19, to represent that budget so that everyone can be happy. Again, I'll ask the question, is he stooping to conquer?
That's what the president told him, and that's what he's doing. So let it be seen that he obeyed the law. As the number one citizen of Rivers State, who is meant to be seen to uphold the laws and order of the state, he has to be seen at that. And of course, he's trying to, follow the directive. I use the word directive intentionally given to him by the president, which is not supposed to be so. But of course, you could see that what is playing out, the godfather, who is highly favored by the president, who of course speaking in line with what the godfather, wants, and trying to do what the Supreme Court has asked him to do. So I think he's doing the right thing. But of course, for River State, we are, personally, I'm trying to watch it and trying to see what will come out from this whole the presentation of the budget and the intention. Of course, we will all know the intention of the legislature, which of course they've threatened to impeach him, which is not going to be a smooth call, because it is not just for you from the House. You need to pass through the CJ, and the CJ is very loyal to the governor. So it's not really it's not going to be an easy thing for them to. But one can only but just watch and see what plays out. But of course, it's stupid to conquer. That's what the president told him. You have to stoop to conquer. So you have to just do what the Supreme Court has ordered and go back and present your budget. So whatever you do will be legally binding and will be constitutional. So that, I think, is doing.
Ambassador Tewe, just before you go, thank you so much. You've done great so far. I want to quickly talk about for a minute El-Rufai saying, I know people who paid to be ministers under this administration. You know how quickly the presidency comes out to debunk such issues, but we've not had any debunking ever since he gave that interview with the BBC Hausa, because you know how it is. bringing out different pointers from what he has said. He said, I know some people that paid money before they put their names as ministers. Ambassador Tewa, you know that is not the way it should be in a democratic nation such as Nigeria. It should always be the best man for the job. If indeed this is true, what does it portend for Nigerians, and why hasn't the presidency come out to debunk it? Do we have ministers who they paid money, they cannot do the job, they are put there, and the industry is suffering?
Okay, you see, it's laughable. Laughable in the sense that it's no longer news. This has always been, even from way back from Buhari's time. It's not news. I mean, Buhari didn't even know most of his ministers. Those he knows as he nominated by himself, most of them are dead, or some of them are bedridden, or some of them are too old to be minister. So they nominated people, and of course, we all know that these lists are largely influenced. Some are bots, even not just to the ministerial positions. We have people even in the ES, the DGs, the Ahmed of parastatals. It's for the highest bidder. So it has always been.
What will President Tinubu do with their money? Recall during the campaign, the now First Lady said they have enough money, they do not need the nation's money. So why would they need to? If it's not for the president, then whom is it for?
It's a pure allegation you just tried. The truth of the matter is, it has always been there are people who work for the power that be, who influence these things, who perhaps maybe they report these things. I mean, these things they are the ones that decide.
If this is true, those are the people who were paid.
Yes, of course.
So Erufai needs to name names to let us know the ministers that reportedly paid to the ministers and the people who collected the money.
We hope that it does that, but it wouldn't do that. I mean, he might want name and say, okay, he pays, and the person will tell you, show me the receipt. These monies are not money who pass through the bank. So these are not monies that you maybe are traceable. These are monies that they tell you, okay, you put this, and of course with influence from maybe one of the two, maybe governor or something. But you have to. It's just like it has always been. It's an unwritten, I'll call it now, an unwritten agreement. But that has always been what plays out. Only for someone that the president perhaps would have a direct connection or direct contact with. The president, of course, influenced that and said, I want this person to be in my cabinet. But we all know largely most of the people in the presidential cabinet, the president don't even know them. There are recommendations made to him by governors or by his state actors or by their other statements from different zones. And of course, these are people who come together and they lobby for it. And of course, the highest bidder takes it. It has always been the thing with our political system. So it won't change now. So if I come in to say that, I mean, it happened largely in Buhari's government, which he was part. It was a very key was a major key player in the government, and we see that happening. So it's not new. Him saying from an RFI to say that is a story that for some of us that are very conversant with our political space, we know that to be true. So it's not a new thing.
Is not a new thing. A lot of people will chalk it down to his disgruntlement with the ministerial snub. And you recall he's been giving media interviews where he said President Tinubu is not his friend. But recall that he was one of the people who spoke for the president at Chatham House. Yes,
President Tinubu, yes, of course, he's not a friend, but
how would you know, Ambassador Atewe? Do you know the nature of the relationship between them? He's not his friend, but the president publicly, would I say, begged or asked El-Rufai to hold on with his PhD and come and join the government. But when it was time for ministerial screening, he was snubbed. He did say, the president rejected me and not National Assembly. He changed his mind. So could all these allegations be coming as a result of that, as a lot of Nigerians seem to think?
If you follow the APC political campaign when it started from presidency, you see that the El-Rufai of this world and all the North, they supported the South. The president should come from the South, but they were not really giving their weight behind President Tinubu. President Tinubu fought his way into it, and being that El-Rufai is one of the founding founders of APC, and once the President Tinubu has finally won the ticket, it's common. It's the onus fall on him to support the party bearer of the presidential candidate of the party, the flag bearer of the country, and of course it's normal that he has to speak for the party for them to win. No one will want to. Only in PDP now that you see people working against the party. But of course, if you're in power, you want to be in power. And you remember that in politics, there's no permanent friend, there's no permanent enemy. Once you say they're not friends, meaning that there is no social ties, there is no. I mean, you can't say that El-Rufai has been with Tinubu for long, as long as Fashola or these people have been with him, or for those that have been with Tinubu for long. I mean, by political affiliation, yes. But when you say El-Rufai is more closer to Buhari than even to Tinubu. So but doesn't mean that they're not pals. Doesn't mean that they don't have each other's contact. Doesn't mean that they are not okay. We can call them to an extent friends, but they're not really like a deep friends. So that's what I think he's trying to portray. But El-Rufai coming to say that. It because of the ministerial. I mean, some would say because of the ministry. Yes, for some quarters they might be right with that argument, because I like to believe that if you were to be nominated to be to be among these ministers, would you have been saying this? One would think that way. But of course, as it is now, I mean, the political scene is tense, and it's all about interest. Let no one deceive you. Nobody is coming to. I mean, we can only have. I mean, I'm a Christian. I mean, we will have one man who died for the sin of the whole world, regardless of who you are. But when it comes to our political space and politicians, it's about interest, regardless of. I mean, if El-Rufai was opportune to be in today's government, I mean, perhaps maybe he won't be talking like this. Maybe he'll be speaking for the president, and also speaking well of the president's policy. But because it's not in their it's not in their favor. Well, I mean, what do you expect? But whatever he's saying, the question will be: is he saying the truth? Yes, in some quarters. But of course, is he hurt? It could be hurt. It could be hurt. It could be like, okay, you deceived me, you made me work for you, and you abandoned me when I needed you the most. And so I have to go fight for myself, and of course, make you understand that I'm a political. I have a political way to make things work in this country. So it's all about interest. Everybody just fighting for their interest. So that's why I always say that Nigerians, nobody should die in their wars. These are people who are there for themselves, not for you. It to be so shallow-minded, it to be so daft for any Nigerian to think this person is fighting for my interest. No, but for theirs and that of their family.
Ambassador Atewe, you have been so amazing. Thank you so much for joining me on the World News at 12 this afternoon. It's always a pleasure whenever we get to have these conversations. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Do have an amazing day. You have been listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that a fresh controversy has trailed Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's suspension as senators disown committee report. El-Rufai alleges people bought ministerial positions under Tinubu's government. Nnamdi Kanu's trial to start afresh, March 21 under new judge, and Putin sets out conditions for Ukraine's ceasefire. That is a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Chioma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903 FM. For coverage of your live event and brand news mentions on our news bulletins, do send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.